Never say bad things about Darcy in the front of my parents. But the difference with Darcy and your father is, I think, she always shared the bad moments in our relationship, and she never shared the good and the happy moments in our
I
relationship.
don't take that. I'm taking concerning issues.
Darcy always sharing, the problem with her father, but it's hard because they always two sides of the story.
In the chaotic world of 90 Day Fiancé, few stars bring more drama than Darcy Silva. But this time, it's not Darcy or even her husband Georgi stirring the pot. It's her father, Mike Silva, who has finally reached his breaking point. 4 years, fans have watched Mike quietly stand by his daughter, offering support through her whirlwind relationships, failed engagements, and never-ending heartbreaks. But now he's done. No more sugarcoating. No more playing the supportive dad in the shadows. Instead, Mike is dropping truth bombs that have fans everywhere nodding in agreement. The latest episode of Happily Ever After showed Darcy turning to her father for advice. Her marriage with Georgi Rusev has been falling apart at the seams, and she hoped her dad would step in, comfort her, and maybe even rescue her from the chaos. But Mike wasn't interested in babying his daughter this time. He didn't mince words. He didn't hold back. Instead, he looked Darcy straight in the eye and told her what fans have been saying for years. You were a sugar mama, and you knew this was going to happen. Yes, Mike called his daughter a sugar mama, bluntly pointing out that Georgi has been financially dependent on Darcy since day one. And then, in a moment that had fans cheering, he went even further, calling her entire marriage nothing more than an F-I-N-G argument. So why did Mike finally unleash the truth? The answer lies in the constant cycle of drama surrounding Darcy and George's relationship. Georgi has long expressed his frustration, not just with Darcy, but with her twin sister Stacy's endless involvement in their marriage. According to Georgi, Darcy has been guilty of airing only the bad moments of their relationship to her family, leaving him painted as the villain. He admitted he feels like he's wasting the best years of his life, while Darcy, in return, accused him of just waiting for the perfect moment to leave her. The tension between them has been simmering for years, and now, it seems to have finally boiled over. But Mike wasn't just criticizing the marriage. Darcy also shocked viewers by revealing she wanted to move back in with her dad. With her lease ending, she thought her father's home, where her daughters already live, would be the perfect solution. Mike's response? A hard no. He reminded Darcy that if he allowed her to move in, Stacy would want to move in too, and suddenly his peaceful home would turn into another circus of Silva family drama. Instead, he told his daughter point-blank, "You and your husband need to look after each other." In other words, it's time for Darcy to grow up and deal with her marriage on her own. Fans online loved every second of it. On Reddit, viewers praised Mike for finally keeping it real. One fan wrote, "I love how the dad was keeping it real. Keep him out of your marriage business." Another added, "You can tell he's finally over it and realizing how much he messed up by enabling them their entire lives." Many applauded Mike for setting boundaries, not just with Darcy, but with Stacy too. Fans were quick to point out that Darcy is old enough to handle her own problems without dragging her entire family into her mess every time something goes wrong. 4 years, viewers have watched Darcy repeat the same cycle, falling hard for a man, ignoring the red flags, pulling her family into her relationship troubles, and then crying when it all falls apart. But now, her father is refusing to be part of the cycle. By calling out the truth, that Georgi has leaned on Darcy financially, that the marriage is nothing but constant fighting, and that she needs to take responsibility for her own choices, Mike Silva has officially washed his hands of the drama. The big question now is, will Darcy finally listen? Her father's tough love has fans hopeful that maybe, just maybe, Darcy will start owning up to her mistakes instead of playing the victim. But knowing Darcy Silva, the queen of reality TV drama, this story is far from over. Because on 90 Day Fiancé, when one fire burns out, another one is always about to ignite. In the world of 90 Day Fiancé, scandal is never far behind, and this time, the spotlight is burning bright on Colt Johnson. Yes, you heard that right. Whispers are growing louder that Colt might have slipped on a ring once again in a secret wedding. The man who's been through more breakups, scandals, and reality TV drama than most of us could count might have quietly tied the knot in Brazil. And fans think they've already found the receipts. So, Did Colt Johnson secretly marry his new Brazilian girlfriend? Who was this mystery woman, and when did this alleged wedding take place? Buckle up, because this tea is piping hot. Fans of the franchise know Colt well, from his disastrous marriage with Larissa Lima to his short-lived romance with Vanessa Guerra, and let's not forget the countless cheating allegations that plagued his past. Colt has never managed to escape drama. Viewers have called him the common denominator in all his failed relationships, accusing him of playing the victim while betraying the trust of the women who stood by him. But if there's one thing that Colt has proven time and time again, it's that he refuses to give up on love. And maybe that's why this latest rumor is making such waves. Not too long ago, fans were convinced that Colt and Courtney were endgame. After all, she stood by him through one of his darkest chapters, even when Colt suffered a devastating leg injury. Courtney stepped into the caretaker role, cooking, cleaning, and even jokingly calling herself Colt's wife. That single word, wife, was all it took to set the rumor mill ablaze. Suddenly, social media was flooded with speculation that Colt and Courtney had already walked down the aisle in secret. But the pair eventually came forward to set the record straight. Colt admitted that during his recovery, only his family was allowed to see him, and Courtney simply played the role of a wife while taking care of him. It wasn't real, but fans couldn't help but notice the cracks forming in their relationship. Soon after, Courtney discovered what many of Colt's exes had already learned, that he was talking to other women behind her back. Fed up with the lies and toxicity, she decided to walk away. And just like that, Colt was single again. But not for long. Despite multiple failed marriages and broken relationships, Colt wasn't about to throw in the towel. He booked a ticket to Brazil, and it seems that trip changed everything. Reports claim that Colt found love again, this time with a Brazilian woman named Diana. Sources revealed that their relationship started soon after his split from Courtney, and unlike his previous romances, things seemed to move quickly between Colt and Diana. But here's where things get interesting. Recently, a picture of Colt began making the rounds online. At first glance, it looked harmless, just Colt sipping from a mug with the caption, "Your moment of zen." But eagle-eyed fans noticed something shiny on that finger. Yes, Colt appeared to be wearing a wedding band. And once viewers spotted it, the internet exploded. Screenshots were taken. Photos were cropped and zoomed in. Fans were convinced this wasn't just a ring, it was a marriage ring. So naturally, the question is, did Colt secretly marry Diana in Brazil? Now, fans aren't just curious, they're skeptical. After all, this is Colt Johnson we're talking about. His track record with women is nothing short of chaotic. Infidelity, broken promises, and televised meltdowns have followed him like a shadow. Many are asking the same blunt question: what do women actually see in Colt Johnson? Theories are flying. Some believe that Colt is simply determined to stay relevant in the reality TV spotlight, and a secret marriage would be the perfect way to guarantee more screen time. Others argue that Colt might truly believe Diana is the one and wants to finally prove his critics wrong. But let's be honest, for a man with Colt's history, trust won't come easy. Fans know that Colt has a pattern of sabotaging his own relationships, and they can't help but wonder if this marriage, if it's even real, will be any different. For now, though, Colt is keeping quiet. No official confirmation, no wedding photos, no Instagram posts celebrating newlywed bliss. Just a suspicious ring, an intriguing caption, and a fandom ready to dig deeper. Could it be another publicity stunt? Or is Colt Johnson truly off the market once again, starting a brand new chapter in Brazil with Diana by his side? One thing's for sure, in the world of 90 Day Fiancé, no secret stays buried for long. So, stay tuned, because if Colt really did say "I do" again, this is one storyline fans won't want to miss. In the world of 90 Day Fiancé, few love triangles have been as explosive or as dangerous as the one between Jasmine Pineda, her ex-husband Gino Palazzolo, and her new partner, Matt Branistareanu. But this time, the drama isn't just about jealousy or heartbreak, it's about immigration, fraud, and the very future of Jasmine's unborn child. After breaking free from her toxic marriage with Gino, Jasmine thought moving to Florida with Matt would finally bring her peace. Together, they dreamed of building a new life, a home, a family, and the fresh start she'd always wanted. But Gino wasn't ready to let her go. Behind the scenes, he launched a devastating campaign to drag Jasmine back into his orbit, filing complaints to IC and threatening her with deportation. He accused her of marriage fraud, claiming she had used him just for a visa. And in a scathing letter, he demanded she repay over $70,000. Money he says he spent on Jasmine's one visa, her rent in Panama, their marriage expenses, and even legal fees. For Jasmine, the threats were terrifying. For Matt, they were infuriating. Because if Gino had his way, Jasmine could be forced out of the United States, leaving Matt to raise their child alone. So the couple decided to take matters into their own hands. Together, Jasmine and Matt walked into a divorce lawyer's office, desperate for answers. Matt, frustrated, admitted that he had been urging Jasmine to finalize her divorce for months, warning her that Gino's hold over her wasn't truly broken until she cut ties legally. "I want Jasmine to get divorced before I introduce her to my mom," Matt confessed, his disappointment clear. For him, Jasmine's delays were not just careless, they were dangerous. And then came the bombshell. The attorney, Oxalis, reviewed Jasmine's case, and the news was worse than anyone expected. She explained that under Florida law, because Jasmine was still legally married to Gino, he would automatically be considered the legal father of her unborn child. In other words, if Jasmine gave birth before her divorce was finalized, Gino could claim parental rights to her baby. And if he could prove his accusations of marriage fraud, Jasmine risked being deported, torn away from Matt, from her daughter, and from the life she had built in America. If, for any reason, Gino can show that the marriage was a fraud, Oxalis warned, you would be deported. Jasmine sat in shock, her voice shaking as she whispered, "At this moment, I don't know how to fix this." It was a nightmare scenario. The thought of Gino being tied to her daughter's future left Jasmine reeling. She admitted she felt like collapsing, but she tried to hold herself together. For Matt, for her baby, for the fragile life they were trying to protect. Meanwhile, Matt promised he wasn't going anywhere. He vowed to stand by Jasmine through the storm, no matter how ugly things got. And somehow they made it through. Today, Jasmine is still in the United States. She and Matt are raising their daughter together, proving that their love and determination were strong enough to fight off Gino's attempts to destroy them. But the scars remain. Fans continue to debate whether Jasmine should have acted sooner, whether Gino was justified in demanding repayment, or whether his actions were nothing more than revenge disguised as justice. Some see him as a man scorned, trying to claw back control. Others see Jasmine as reckless, for not cutting ties before moving forward with a new relationship. But one thing is certain, the battle over Jasmine's future was never just about love. It was about power, money, and survival in a system that doesn't always protect the vulnerable. So what comes next for Jasmine and Matt? Will they finally find the peace they've been fighting for? Or will Gino continue to lurk in the background, ready to strike again? In the unpredictable world of 90 Day Fiancé, love may conquer all, but not without a fight.
I mean, I feel like it's enough. You both need like step back from our family.
No, we're all family.
No, we are in different
Yes, we are
sides.
all family. If you don't feel like we're all a family, maybe you do need to go back to Russia.
That is typical Betty, and she didn't gonna take her son respectfully.
In the stormy universe of 90 Day Fiancé, one family has never been able to keep their emotions in check, the Gibbs. And now, the tension between Brandon, Julia, and his parents, Betty and Ron, has reached explosive new heights. 4 years, fans have watched Julia Trubkina struggle to carve out space in her marriage, constantly battling against her in-laws' control. From farm chores to house rules, from pressure about her biological clock to interference in her wedding plans, Julia has endured it all. And through it all, Brandon remains stuck in the middle, too often silent, too often choosing his parents' approval over his wife's happiness. But on Happily Ever After Season 9, everything has boiled over, and this time, there may be no coming back. It all began with what should have been a joyful moment. Julia is expecting, and Brandon seemed genuinely excited about planning her baby shower. He even shared adorable photos from their maternity photo shoot online, asking fans for ideas to make the party special. But instead of praise, many slammed Brandon for his continued dependence on his parents. Some fans even sarcastically suggested he should just let Grandma Betty plan the entire shower as usual. And perhaps they weren't wrong, because once again, Betty couldn't resist trying to step in and take control. Julia, who's long hated being micromanaged, felt her blood boiling all over again. For her, it was a painful reminder. She left her home in Russia for love, only to land in a life where she still feels disrespected, overshadowed, and constantly undermined. But if the baby shower drama wasn't enough, the real explosion came when Brandon and Julia sat down with Betty and Ron to drop a shocking bombshell. With nervous smiles, the couple revealed they had made a life-changing decision. Brandon had resigned from his job. Together, they were planning to leave for Europe in just a few days. As if that weren't enough, Julia confessed she had also decided to sell her Russian apartment, a bold move that symbolized cutting ties with her past and fully committing to their shared future. The problem? They didn't actually have the money yet. Ron and Betty's jaws dropped. The news hit them like a sledgehammer. Ron snapped first, his voice filled with disappointment and anger. "We spent our lives teaching Brandon how to plan and think logically, and this is not my son." The father was livid, accusing his son of making reckless decisions without thinking them through. For Ron, the entire plan sounded absurd: quitting a job, spending money they didn't have, and dragging Julia into what he saw as a financial disaster waiting to happen. Betty's expression said it all: shock, hurt, and frustration. For her, it was proof that Julia was pulling Brandon away from the stable life they had always imagined for him. But Brandon stood his ground. He admitted that, yes, it was risky, but it was a risk he was willing to take to save his marriage. He reminded his parents that his relationship with Julia had already been through storms, therapy sessions, and near breakdowns. For him, the trip to Europe was about more than travel. It was about survival. A last chance to keep the love alive. And Julia, she had had enough. Her patience snapped like a rubber band, pulled too tight. Looking at Betty and Ron, she screamed for them to finally step back and let her and Brandon live their lives without constant interference. Her voice cracked with years of pent-up frustration. The farm chores, the house rules, the baby pressure, the endless arguments, all of it came pouring out. But Betty wasn't about to back down. She shot back with her own anger, reminding Julia that they are family too. She declared that if Julia didn't like it, she should just go back to Russia. The tension in the room was unbearable, two worlds colliding, two women refusing to yield. And then, in a fiery confessional that stunned viewers, Julia let her true feelings fly. Respectfully, F. you. Fans were left in shock. Social media lit up with debates. Some applauded Julia for finally standing up for herself and demanding boundaries from her in-laws. Others felt she crossed the line by cursing out Betty, who has, for better or worse, always been a presence in their lives. But almost everyone agreed on one thing: Brandon's dependence on his parents is destroying his marriage. For years, the Gibbs family dynamic has been defined by control, loyalty, and conflict. Julia wanted love and independence. Betty wanted involvement and oversight. Ron wanted logic and stability. And Brandon, he's been pulled apart, torn between them all. Now, with a baby on the way, a bold plan to move to Europe, and a fractured relationship with his parents, Brandon and Julia are standing at a crossroads. Will this couple finally break free and build a future on their own terms? Or will Betty and Ron's grip on their son drag them back into the same toxic cycle? One thing is certain: on 90 Day Fiancé, when it comes to Brandon and Julia versus Betty and Ron, the drama is only just beginning. In the ever-turbulent world of 90 Day Fiancé, Yara and Jovi have always been one of the most unpredictable couples. Fans have seen them fight, reconcile, laugh, and cry. But this season of Happily Ever After has peeled back the curtain on a deeply personal struggle. Their marriage has hit a dry spell. Yes, Yara herself has admitted it. Intimacy in their relationship has taken a back seat. And behind the laughter, the shopping sprees, and the glamorous selfies, there's a painful reality that's leaving fans both stunned and concerned. The drama unfolded when Jovi, in what he thought was a lighthearted attempt to flirt with his wife, made a comment about her looks. But instead of bringing them closer, his words cut deep, reopening old wounds that Yara has carried with her since childhood. The Ukrainian beauty broke down in front of the cameras, explaining that growing up, she dealt with cruel remarks about her appearance. Those memories never left her, and hearing her husband make a careless comment about her looks felt like an echo of her trauma. Yara admitted that it's not something she can easily forgive, Not because of the present moment, but because of everything it brought back from the past. Jovi, for his part, insisted he never meant to call his wife ugly. In a confessional, he defended himself. "I don't want to get grilled for something I didn't even mean to say." To him, it was just a misunderstanding. But for Yara, the damage was already done. Their castmates even weighed in. Loren Brovarnik suggested that Jovi might lash out because of his own insecurities, while Andre Castrovet, surprisingly, agreed with her. For once, the group seemed to be united in their assessment. Jovi's words revealed more about him than about Yara. But as Yara opened up about her pain, she also revealed another coping mechanism that has fans buzzing: shopping. In a recent girls' outing, Yara confessed that retail therapy has become her happy place. She admitted she's bad with money, but buying things, even expensive luxuries, fills a void. With a laugh, she confessed, "And the way things are going with Jovi, I guess I'm going to buy a lot." Her friends, Loren and Elizabeth, laughed along with her. But Yara wasn't done. She shocked the group by declaring that shopping, even something as simple as buying a Rolex, feels better than sex. Her words left everyone in stitches, but beneath the humor was a harsh reality. Intimacy between her and Jovi has become almost non-existent. Later in the episode, Yara admitted openly what fans had already suspected. "Me and Jovi are going through this dry spell," she confessed, half joking, half defeated. She even quipped that she had no Rolex and no FING, leaving fans speechless at her blunt honesty. What was supposed to be a light-hearted girl's day out quickly turned into a shocking revelation about the state of her marriage. Fans had mixed reactions. Some loved Yara's raw honesty, praising her for opening up about struggles that many couples face but rarely talk about. Others, however, were worried, wondering if this dry spell is a sign of bigger cracks forming in her relationship with Jovi. After all, this isn't the first time the pair has clashed over personal issues. From Jovi's party lifestyle to Yara's independent streak, their marriage has always been a balancing act. Now, with emotional baggage, insecurities, and a lack of intimacy added to the mix, many are asking, can Yara and Jovi survive the season? What makes this situation even more heartbreaking is that beneath the jokes and banter, Yara's pain is real. Her childhood trauma continues to shape the way she views herself, and instead of finding comfort in her marriage, she feels wounded by the very person she should feel safest with. Jovi may see it as a misunderstanding, but for Yara, it's yet another reminder of the emotional gap between them. Will shopping and retail therapy be enough to distract Yara from the cracks in her marriage? Or will she and Jovi finally sit down, face the hurt, and find a way to heal their relationship both emotionally and physically? For now, fans are left in shock, laughing at Yara's wit but worrying about her heart. Because when one of 90 Day Fiancé's most glamorous couples admits to a bedroom dry spell, you know the drama is just heating up.